friends. Christine here with the Co-Living Code Show. This week, we've got a special episode. It is the live talk I did back in Helsinki, Finland in November. They just released the video recording, so we've put that on YouTube and we've put the audio on our podcast. So that is this week's episode, and enjoy. Hello, everybody. Christine McDaniel with Kndrd. We are a software platform for the co-living industry. And today I am talking about my three favorite things. Hopefully you guys love too. The built environment being one, co-living being two, and technology being the third one. So I'm going to talk about all that. I'm going to try not to talk too quickly. I am from California, so I'll slow it down for you guys. I talk fast when I get excited, and I'm talking about something I'm passionate about, of course. So we will launch right into it. And first, I'd love to ask, how many of you guys know what have heard of co-living? Okay, decent amount. Well, thank you, and welcome to the room, everybody that has not heard about it. You will get a very crystal clear definition of it in a couple slides. This is a picture of Sidewalk Labs, which is a Google project in Toronto, Canada. I'm a huge fan, so I always try to incorporate some of their imagery in. You know, obviously this is a concept, but this is something that they are working on right now, and they've started on, so it's exciting, and you can look it up online, Sidewalk Labs. And just quick background on me. I have a property management background. I worked for one of the largest property management companies in California, which was the Irvine Company back in the late 90s, and got my real estate license, and then became an entrepreneur for the last 16 years. Nothing to do with real estate. Now it's full circle and back into real estate. And my tech company, Kndrd, was actually in the Arcadis City of 2030 accelerator program in Amsterdam. So you probably recognize that picture there of Amsterdam. And that was, so I lived there for 5 months this year here in Europe, which was incredible because I'll be honest, this, you know, and I know that Duke was talking earlier about the differences between America and Europe, because I get that question all the time too. And it was really nice to be here for those 5 months this year and understand the co-living and student accommodation market here, because you guys have, that's very strong here versus in the States, especially the student accommodation side of things. And it was a Techstars accelerator program, obviously. And just quickly, Kndrd is a hybrid of a PMS system and a hotel management software system. So for the co-living, which again, I'm going to show you the definition in a second. For co-living, there is no technology for the industry at all. And a PMS system does not fit properly, and neither does hotel management software. So a lot of co-living operators, because they have nightly, weekly, monthly stays, they're using two completely separate software platforms to power their operation. And some of these operations can have 10,000 beds. Very inefficient, obviously. So here's your definition, you guys. This is the one, I mean, there's multiple definitions. This is the one I like the most. Co-living is a form of housing that combines private living space with shared communal facilities. You know, unlike flat shares and other types of shared living arrangements, co-living explicitly seeks to promote social contact and build community. So regular roommates, you just put some strangers in to share expenses. Maybe they're friends, maybe not. In co-living, it's done with a lot of intention. Like they collectively come in, you know, they know they're going to create this environment in this community. And community is like the number, if it's one word for definition of co-living, it's community. The co and co-living means community, without a doubt. Co-working, you know, I loved her presentation. I'm actually a big fan of WeWork. I know they're getting a lot of slack in the press, but I am a huge fan of theirs. And they, you know, co-working, they started in 2009. It was called Green Desk. You know, so it's been almost 11 years for co-working. And co-living is very, very nascent, and I know, you know, even here in the Nordics especially, you guys are like, oh, well, you know, last night at dinner, well, the Finnish don't want to live together, and they like to live on their own, and I'm like, yeah, but you guys probably said the same thing about co-working, and now you guys are strangers co-working together. So I do see, you know, in the Nordics, and I just spoke in Oslo last month, actually, I want you guys to keep in mind that the world is becoming a lot smaller, okay? So globalization, people from around the world, a lot of people co-living are expats. So think of it that way. Is it going to be a lot of Finnish people living together under one roof or in one building? More than likely, it's actually going to be people from all over the world collectively co-living together here in Helsinki, anywhere in the Nordics. And again, we are early, so please, keep that in mind. This is definitely a nascent industry, but we're going to get there. And it's already anywhere in the world now, they're finally getting co-living. So that's exciting to see. And what it solves for, obviously increasing costs, especially in these gateway cities around the world, these incredible cities that people really want to live in. Short stay, so you've got flexibility. You don't have to sign a 12-month lease anymore. Convenience and loneliness. Loneliness is a huge epidemic around the world. You guys have heard it a million times already, and co-living definitely solves for that. And I co-live myself. So this is the 6 of us. We live in a big house in California together, and we are all separate. We are all business owners. So all 6 of us own our own companies, and and this is a great headline. We had the front page of the business section just a couple months ago. These 6 millennials make millions, so why do they share a house? But it was a really cool, story on, we could afford to live on our own, but we get so much camaraderie, and we help each other with our businesses every Monday night. It's like a mastermind. I mean, it's the most this is a Sunday morning, I'm not kidding you. This is us on a Sunday morning in our dining room, with a whiteboard, and we're working on our SOPs for our company. And that's the dorky stuff we do in our co-living home. Again, not every co-living home is doing this necessarily, but I think the ones that succeed the best are some of the ones that are themed, whether it's entrepreneurs, creatives, entertainment industry. Those are just some of the themes. And then for those that speak German in the room, Galileo just did a 10-minute news piece on us this week, like a couple days ago. So you can look up that segment. They filmed for 2 days at our house. And I do want to talk briefly, because it's such a hot topic everywhere in the world, is climate change and how this is, I think it's been said today a couple times, which is exciting to hear that, everybody's kind of aware of it, is that it's construction that's the #1 contributor to this issue of climate change. And co-living, again, it's density. So we're putting more people in existing buildings, or they're building from the ground up, but they're using less space. And we're repurposing buildings in the world. Google, this is actually a rendering of a mall in Los Angeles. This is a project that they just committed to. It was a massive shopping mall, which now Amazon and all these e-commerce sites obviously are putting the American malls out of business. There's tons of these massive malls that are just sitting vacant. Google took this one over in center of Los Angeles. This is what it used to look like. And they're turning it into one of their LA headquarters. Again, great sense and way to repurpose existing buildings. For those in the crowd that are in construction, just get creative. Like, this building itself is amazing, and now it's an event space, and it was a train, it's a train factory. I love seeing current buildings being repurposed. I also have a friend he's already gutted out 3 homes, huge homes in Los Angeles. He has a master's from Harvard. He's an architect, and he goes, Christine, these were McMansions in America, which we were known for, building these massive houses with only 4 people living in them for some reason. He goes, now I'm gutting them out, and I'm using the structure, and I'm putting 18 bedrooms, 18 people living together. But the way he's used design beautifully, he's pulled it off, and it works flawlessly. He's done 3 homes. These are $2 million a piece, at least. He's done 3 in under 1 year, which is insane. Fully occupied, and working brilliantly. So again, just in the room, thinking of how can you guys use space, whether it's commercial space and trying to switch it to residential, just using space creatively. And, massive, massive growth in co-living. Again, I know it's not a word that people have heard very often yet, but just in the States alone, just in the last 5 years, it's 1,000% growth on new construction, specifically for co-living. And then, obviously, Asia is a massive market, but I only highlighted India because that's a $93 billion market just in India alone. And let's talk numbers real quick. And breaking it down even more for the architects in the room, the real estate developers, feel free to take a picture of this, and people in construction, right? Because you guys want to see numbers. I like numbers. This is, you've got on the top, you have, here's, a 2-bedroom and a 1-bedroom apartment and a 2-bedroom apartment, so 3 separate units, rent per square foot, sorry, I didn't convert to square meters, $49.60. Now, look at that same amount of space that they're using, but they've condensed it to so instead of 3 units, 1 unit, 5-bedroom suite. So 5 bedrooms, sharing a living room, sharing a kitchen. You guys, these people are eating out. I mean, millennials and Gen Z are eating out, or they're ordering Uber Eats. They're not even using the kitchen. So 5 people sharing this space is very easy to do. And now you just drop the rent down. Now the rent is $79.83. So it's causing density in current spaces, shrinking it down, getting more people in there, and that's how these real estate investors. Now we've got a 2-year track record. So in co-living, and this is what the investment bankers love to see, is a 20 to 30% increase on NOI. Like, that's insane. And so now all the investors are like singing co-living from the mountaintops, the same ones that thought it was a fad last year, but that's good. I'm okay with that. Drivers for co-living, needs and values of this generation. And again, I always like to, there's confusion on the ages of the different, everybody's lumping everybody into millennials. So I want to break it down. Millennials are, and Gen Y, same thing, 25 to 39-year-olds right now. That's a big market. But Gen Z right now is 18 to 24. So maybe they're in university, maybe they're coming out of university. These are the 2 main clients using this product, co-living. It's 25 to 35 globally across the world, but then you do see outliers. You see divorcees, you see active adults, senior citizens. So there's, I think that 25 to 35-year-old range in co-living globally is going to shift, but that's still what it is as of right now. We got generation, these are terms maybe you guys have heard in the Nordics, maybe not, but I've definitely heard it in Europe and definitely in the States. Generation rent, access over ownership, global residency, remote work, urbanization, the experience economy, community and tribe. These are all drivers of what's going on. They much rather post it on Instagram, them hanging out with their friends or out by the pool. It's not like owning these flashy cars anymore, especially with these generations. They don't want to own a bunch of things. 88% of millennials live with roommates in the United States. That's massive. That's a massive segment of the market. City living going up. This is globally. Home ownership definitely decreasing. Good stats here. Okay, so some of these you guys already know. 2/3 of the population will be living in cities by 2050. That's a UN stat that's been said a million times. 15% of property in cities is sitting vacant on average. Like, even with the amazing work, and I'm an Airbnb fan also, because again, they're just using space really well. And still, we have 15% of property just sitting vacant for whatever reasons in these big cities. And 86% of the world's GDP growth will be generated in cities. So there's this massive shift to move to these gateway cities around the world. And again, more drivers, accessibility, affordability, sociability. Again, real estate prices just going up and up and up. And how do you live in, again, taking LA, for example, you work in a tech company in Santa Monica. Are you really going to commute, and they're commuting an hour in each way? Or are you going to say, hey, I'll give up a little bit of space, a little bit of privacy, and I'll co-live so that I shave off 2-hour commute per day? And that's what people are doing. Experiences over things, again, they want more flexibility, they want, social events, opportunities to build real community connections. That's this massive driver for co-living. So it's what I like to call the 3 C's, which is cost, convenience, and community. Those 3 things are like the number one thing for the 3 things for co-living. And serving that global resident. So just hassle-free convenience, right? Furnished, utilities included, in a cool part of town. Maybe you don't know anybody. Maybe you got transferred there. You work for Google. You don't know anybody in that city. And now it's immediate friends, instant friends. 1 payment per month. It's covering everything. You're not moving furniture. I always wonder what's going to happen to like the storage industry and like the U-Haul industry, like all that stuff's just going to decrease because people are not going to be moving stuff as often. And, just having a really great virtual experience, having a great app on the communities, which is stuff, again, with Kndrd. We've talked with operators around the world, and that's what everybody's, we're helping facilitate. How do we automate all these things, like a digital lease signing, just straight from your smartphone, touring the facility through videos so you're not flying to Madrid before your job transfer happens just to see your place you're going to live in. All this technology is already available. It's just putting it all into one application. And I do visualize buildings as, these are, in the future, again, I'm such a futurist. I love, and that was a fun part about working on the cities of 2030, because I'm like, I get to work on the future. I imagine high-rises being, half residential, and then half, like, you take an elevator to your office. Maybe there's like half of its co-working space, and your office is in your same building, and you're taking an elevator to commute. Like, how cool is that? Especially in some of these massive mega cities around the world. And then how do you humanize housing? How do you still create that community while integrating technology? And that's what I get to do on a daily basis, which I love, because I love both, and I really believe you could put both together. I do have, for those that are interested in co-living, want to learn more about co-living, you don't just have to listen to me talk. I actually have a weekly podcast and YouTube show where I bring on the founders of these amazing co-living communities around the world. That's Charlie McGregor. Some of you guys might know him, founder of the Student Hotel here in Europe, an incredible human being. So we do video, so it's every Wednesday, and it's fun just to get those founders on. Hans Meyer with Zoku out of Amsterdam, he just came on like a month ago. The show's been running for over a year, so you'll have a couple people I met, they said they've listened to a bunch of episodes. But again, that's them talking. Like, it's just me asking questions and listening to their journey and hearing how they got started and learning about the communities they've built and the properties and the expansion, the future expansion that's happening into co-living. So you can check that out, of course. And a couple last minute notes. Fireside chat. Jan, he's on the show today. I timed it perfectly. We recorded it a few weeks ago, and I said we had to air it today. So you'll hear that episode with him talking about the embassies. But you can also see us this afternoon at 1640 talking at the Dome of Vision. So we are both going to be talking about co-living in a fireside chat, and it's a big Q&A session. So we really wanted to make it interactive with you guys in the Dome this afternoon. So bring your questions. Both of us will be happy to answer them. We'll have a great conversation. And thank you so much for you guys that want my book. I published a book. It's on Amazon called The Coliving Code. Happy to send you guys a free digital copy. Just shoot me a message on LinkedIn. Free copy of book. That's all you have to say. And I will get that link to you. And hope you guys enjoyed. So cheers to co-living. Thank you so much for checking out today's episode. If you want to learn more about co-living, you could check out my book on Amazon, The Coliving Code. And of course, if you're looking for the perfect software to power your co-living concept, check out Kndrd.io, Kndrd.io. Thanks.